When people say you are good with computers, they are usually talking about that moment when you fix something in seconds that had them stuck for hours. The CompTIA A+ certification takes that informal reputation and turns it into something hiring managers can recognize and trust. It says, in a structured way, that you can support real users, real devices, and real networks when things break in the middle of a workday. In this Monday Certified feature from Bare Metal Cyber, we walk through what A+ actually proves, how the exams are structured, how to prepare without burning out, and where this certification fits into a bigger IT and cybersecurity career path.
If this certification is on your study list, a free and complete audio course is available in the Bare Metal Cyber Academy at baremetalcyber.com, complete with a study guide and a second ebook featuring 1,000 flashcard questions.
Think of CompTIA Plus as your first serious checkpoint in professional IT. It is a vendor-neutral, entry-level certification that focuses on real-world technical support and operations. Instead of locking you into a single product, it covers a broad mix of hardware, operating systems, basic networking, mobile and cloud-connected devices, security fundamentals, and troubleshooting. That broad base is exactly what most help desks and service desks live on every day. When a hiring manager sees A+ on a resume, they read it as a sign that you have taken the time to learn how everyday systems work and how to keep them running.
CompTIA, the Computing Technology Industry Association, is a nonprofit industry group that builds vendor-neutral certifications used all over the world. They maintain a full ladder of credentials, A+ at the foundation, then things like Network Plus and Security Plus as you move into more specialized roles. That ecosystem matters because it gives your learning a roadmap. You start with A+ to show you can support users and systems, and then you decide whether your next move is deeper into infrastructure, deeper into security, or both. Employers recognize that ladder, so one certification often opens doors to conversations about the next one.
The current A+ is split into two core exams. Core 1 leans into hardware, connectivity, and basic cloud concepts. Core 2 leans into operating systems, security, software troubleshooting, and procedures. On paper, that sounds dry, but in practice, the questions are built around small everyday stories. A laptop will not boot. A wireless network keeps dropping. A user cannot access an internal site from their phone. The exam asks you to read the situation, pick out the important clues, and choose the most reasonable next step. Many items are performance-based, where you click through a small simulation to configure a setting or complete a task, which rewards real hands-on experience.
Underneath all the domains, the exam is really testing your troubleshooting habits and your ability to support people without making things worse. It looks at whether you can move from a vague complaint like the internet is slow to a structured investigation. It cares that you rule out simple causes before you start swapping hardware. It expects you to apply basic security practices while you work, so you are not creating new problems while solving the original one. Many early career candidates worry that A+ is a trivia test about obscure cables and ports, but modern versions put more weight on handling mixed environments with laptops, tablets, cloud services, virtual machines, and remote tools, because that is what real support teams see every day.
If you are preparing for A+ while working, going to school, or juggling family obligations, you need more than good intentions. You need a simple plan you can actually follow. One reliable pattern is to treat each core exam as its own project and move through 4 repeating phases. First comes a foundation phase, where you work through a structured resource and learn the concepts and vocabulary. Then an application phase, where you build or borrow a small lab and actually do the tasks you are reading about. After that, a question practice phase, where you work with exam-style questions and study every explanation, not just your score. Finally, a review phase, where you tighten up weak areas and rehearse your exam day pacing.
That application phase is where a lot of candidates quietly separate themselves. You do not need a data center.
One machine and a virtualization tool can let you install operating systems, break configurations on purpose, and practice fixing them. You can simulate wireless issues, user account problems, and basic network connectivity failures. Later, when you see a performance-based question about configuring IP settings or adjusting boot order, it will feel familiar instead of scary. Hands-on practice also makes the theory easier to remember because you can tie it to something your eyes saw and your hands actually clicked on, rather than a line you skimmed in a book.
Question practice is not just about drilling until you see the same items again. It is about training your brain to read scenarios the way the exam expects. When you miss a question, spend a moment asking what clue you ignored or misunderstood. Maybe it was a key word about location, like a remote user or a guest network. Maybe it was a constraint, like a need to fix something quickly with minimal cost. Keeping a simple log of the topics that trip you up, such as wireless standards, command line tools, or ticket documentation, shows you where to focus your final review. Over time, those patterns matter more than your raw practice score.
For many learners, audio turns wasted time into quiet momentum. If you have access to an A+ audio course inside the Bare Metal Cyber Audio Academy, you can loop back over key topics while commuting, walking, or doing chores. One effective habit is to listen to an episode that matches something you studied earlier in the week, then note one or two details that stood out or became clearer. That gentle repetition across reading, labs, questions, and audio builds a layered understanding. It also keeps the certification present in your mind without requiring you to sit at a desk for every minute of study.
On exam day, your goal is not perfection. Your goal is calm, consistent decision-making over the entire time window. You can expect to see a few performance-based items, and it helps to decide ahead of time whether you prefer to handle them at the beginning, when your mind is fresh, or after you have warmed up on multiple choice questions. Read each scenario once for the big picture, and once for specific clues. If you are stuck, eliminate clearly wrong options, choose the most reasonable remaining answer, flag it, and move on. That rhythm of steady progress under mild pressure is exactly the kind of real-world behavior A+ is trying to capture.
In hiring pipelines, A+ often acts as a filter and a conversation starter. When a recruiter or hiring manager is sorting through applications for a help desk or desktop support role, a current A+ credential signals that you understand common tools, basic security, and professional practices like documentation and communication. It does not magically replace experience, but when it sits next to any form of real or volunteer work, it helps your story land. It shows that you cared enough to invest in structured learning, and that you can speak the same language as the technicians already on the team. If your long-term goal is cybersecurity, A+ is not the finish line, it is the on-ramp. Many people follow a path of A+ for general support skills, Network Plus for a deeper understanding of how systems talk to each other, and Security Plus for core security concepts. That sequence gives you a three-dimensional picture of endpoints, networks, and controls. Later on, whether you move toward incident response, cloud security, or a security operations center role, the habits you built for A+ keep helping you. You will already know what a normal user complaint looks like, how a typical ticket is documented, and what healthy systems feel like before you start hunting for threats.
Thanks for listening. For more audio courses, daily newsletters, and more, please visit baremetalcyber.com.